Business Webinar Strategies: How to Grow Your Business and Put More Cash in Your Pocket with Webinars. Welcome to the video tutorial series on using webinars in your business. You're going to be on the receiving end of a lot of information over the course of the 4 videos in this series, so make sure you have a pen and paper ready to capture those great ideas videos always seem to generate. In this first video, we're going to be talking about what a webinar is, strategies for using one effectively, and popular webinar hosting tools to start with. We're going to take a look at the drawbacks and benefits, as well as free or low-cost, easy ways to get you started. What is a webinar? A webinar is an interactive online event, just like this one. It is presented by one or more hosts and is usually limited to a specific maximum number of attendees, and it can contain live webcam footage, screenshots, PowerPoint presentations, and just about any other visual means of connection. How to use webinars. There are several different types of webinars used in several different ways. You can create free webinars for lead generation and increasing web presence and credibility. Create free webinars for paid product promotion, your own products or affiliate products. Create a paid webinar as an end product in its own right. Webinars are a natural addition to your marketing strategy. By their nature, they offer obvious benefits, both to you and to your attendees. There are no travel costs. People can attend in their pajamas if they want, and so can you. Time limited. People can easily slot these modules of high-power information giving or how-to instruction into their calendars and receive instant reminders. Entertaining and memorable. A good webinar makes time fly by and leaves the attendee feeling they really got their money's worth, even if they didn't have to pay a cent. Confer more authority on the presenter. There's always an instant assumption that the presenter is an authority figure in their niche if they are able to host a webinar. Increase branding. Because interacting with you in a webinar feels like a real-time, face-to-face encounter, it helps stamp you and your services into people's consciousness a lot more quickly. Meeting people in a webinar is the next best thing to meeting them in person. Your attendee has a real sense of getting to know you with more than one of their senses: hearing, sight if you choose to appear on screen, plus whatever material or text you are sharing. Interaction is happening in real time, though you can certainly sell or allow replays of your recorded webinar, so there is the immediacy of your connection to her problems and questions. You are spontaneously sharing with your attendee. It's a real conversation. And, thanks to modern technology, webinars are becoming easier to host every day. Planning your webinar. Like every other facet of your business, the more thoroughly you plan your webinar in advance, the more powerful and focused it will be. The first thing you need to do is decide on the purpose and goals for your webinar. To help you narrow this down, we'll be focusing on the 3 main types of webinars in the following sections. Before you ever pick your webinar hosting provider, however, put some thought into whether or not you want it to be a free or paid webinar, the best day of the week to hold your webinar, the number of people you would be comfortable interacting with, how long you judge it should be, what features you need your hosting service to provide, and the type of promotion, tracking, and follow-up you'll need. Webinar hosting tools and services. Now let's talk about the details. There are basic tools you'll need to own or have access to before you can effectively host a webinar. First, ones you absolutely do need, besides a PC system, of course. A reliable microphone. You want it to be hands-free, so a combination headset and microphone is the obvious choice. It doesn't have to be expensive, but it should be good quality and should specifically be designated for conversation and voice recording. High-speed internet connection. Obvious, but necessary. free or paid webinar hosting. We'll be taking a closer look at 3 of the most common, reliable providers shortly. A good lighting source. If you are using any live feed, such as talking directly to your attendees via video or webcam. A strong, helpful message. It always pays to ask yourself, is your webinar really helping enrich or enlighten your attendees' lives? Would you choose to invest your time watching, listening, and interacting via this webinar if you were an attendee rather than the presenter? Are you passionate about what you're saying? Knowledgeable? Focused 110% on your attendees, not on your own needs or goals? This one slips up even experienced presenters sometimes. Optional equipment, depending on the type of webinar you want to present and the media you're used to working with, can include video camera, webcam, screen capture software, or PowerPoint or graphic slides presentation. TechSmith's Camtasia is the most common screen capture software with an excellent reputation. It's particularly useful if you want to show live screen capture work, where you are actually pointing, clicking, and manipulating the screen. For example, showing people in real time how to set up a WordPress blog. If you are content to work from static screen captures, however, TechSmith also offers Snagit as an inexpensive alternative. Both offer a 30-day free trial, so you can make sure you've chosen the right software. As for video or webcams, you will most likely already have a preference, and your final choice will be dictated by your budget and your PC system and age. Finding a reliable webinar hosting service. There's only one must-have criteria to focus on when hunting around for the right webinar hosting service. Is it easy to use? If you find it easy, chances are your audience will too, and the less techy you are, the better you'll be able to judge. Googling webinar hosting is not really the way to go, since there are literally thousands of companies. One thing you don't want is a company that disappears 6 months after you've signed up, hosted all your webinars, and driven pre-qualified traffic to that site. Let's take a look at 3 top webinar hosting services hitting the highlights. These particular companies are well known for their reliability, ease of use, and support. WebEx. Price ranges from $39 to $49 per month, prepaid yearly or on a month-to-month contract. They also have a 14-day free trial. WebEx features include free phone and VoIP calling, 10,000 minutes per month per host, which is approximately 80 meetings, up to 9 hosts allowed per account, integrated phone conferencing, and a phone-in number for every meeting. The benefits of WebEx include unlimited online meetings. You can record webinars. You can add your company's logo and branding to your webinar. Can be used with third-party conferencing solutions. Can use your own audio rather than VoIP if it's compatible with the WebEx system. Tutorials, which are self-paced classes or live instructor-led training, you can use an attendee's desktop during a webinar or allow her to use yours. You can also share drawings, graphics, documents, or presentations. Some disadvantages of WebEx is that it's available only in the USA and Canada. It's capped at 25 participants per meeting. There's an extra toll-free call-in charge at 15 cents per minute per participant, and extra hosts and guests need special arrangements made. The best use of WebEx is for smaller groups under 25. GoToWebinar. Price ranges at $99 per month, and they offer a 30-day free trial. The features of GoToWebinar include automatic email templates, ability to transfer instantly to another presenter, ability to spontaneously invite others, transfer keyboard and mouse control, full desktop and application sharing, polls, Q&A, and chat options, and drawing tools. The benefits of GoToWebinar include it's Windows or Mac friendly, unlimited meetings, ability to practice your presentation pre-webinar, Outlook calendar integration for your attendees, customized branding, post-session survey, browsers supported included the newer Google Chrome, audience view, which is a thumbnail of the actual presentation, registration, attendee, performance, and recorded webinar reports, and attendees can raise their hands to ask a question. Disadvantages of GoToWebinar is the toll-free service is extra, running at 10 cents per minute. It is almost double the cost of WebEx per month. The best use of GoToWebinar, when webinars are likely to become a regular part of your marketing mix. The reason I particularly like GoToWebinar is its user-friendliness. The company promises you that you will be able to set up a webinar in minutes, and that's true. Here's how in 4 simple steps right from their website. Step 1. Schedule your webinar. GoToWebinar automatically creates your invitation and registration. Step 2. Invite people to register. People can register using your customized registration form. Step 3. Remind registrants to attend. Reminder emails are automatically sent to all of your registrants. It is a good strategy to use a service that automatically sends reminder emails to your list. You can set these reminder emails at whatever intervals you please. Step 4. Prepare for your event. GoToWebinar also allows you to easily practice your presentation without fear of going live or botching things. If you are new to live presentations, this feature can be extremely helpful. GoToWebinar continues to walk you through your actual presentation to follow-up, allowing you to view and analyze feedback and statistics, as well as send those all-important follow-up emails. Adobe Connect. Price ranges from $45 to $55, prepaid yearly or month-to-month contract. 30-day trial after sign-up. Also offers pay-per-use webinar meeting options at 32 cents per minute. Features of Adobe Connect include ability to automate email invitations, confirmations, reminders, and post-event follow-up, PowerPoint integration, audio and video, images, document, and desktop sharing. Benefits of Adobe Connect. With the monthly plan, Adobe promises no commitment, cancel anytime. Webinar access for your attendees from their mobile phones with Adobe Connect Mobile. Polls, Q&A, hand-raising, and whiteboards. Brandable. Can save branded templates you create for reuse in the future. Able to integrate with virtually any audio provider or teleconferencing platform. Some disadvantages of Adobe Connect. Requires Flash. Does not offer full pricing information up front without having to register first. You are heavily encouraged to work with their teams and services in creating custom webinars, but there is a lack of pricing information. It requires individual quotes. Best use for Adobe Connect are large groups geared to corporate business. Make sure you choose the individual user plan if you go with Adobe. A word about free webinar hosting services. If you're just starting out or want to test out a single webinar first, you may not be in a position to sign up for a paid service. But if you can try one even for a couple of months, I would strongly urge you to consider it. There are certain drawbacks to free services, the biggest of which usually lies in not being able to save or record your webinar. From analyzing the 3 top providers, it's easy to see there are desirable features you'll want to check for in any webinar hosting service, whether they are paid or free. Let's boil it down to the basics, including the ability to record your webinar, send reminder and follow-up emails, transfer desktop control to co-presenters or attendees, analyze your webinar afterwards, integrate a toll-free line, integrate with other audio service providers, practice your webinar before it ever goes live, know where hidden costs can lie. You also need to know which additional features are absolutely necessary for the type of webinar you're planning to present. Do you need a whiteboard, hand raising, chat, desktop sharing, application sharing? These are all features that need to be checked out in advance, as well as what security measures free companies promise. Be warned, however, since DimDim folded, I haven't yet found free webinar hosting services that measure up, although new competitor Yugma offers an affordable entry point price, entering the field at $19.99 per month. I haven't tried Yugma myself, but here's what it seems to offer. 20 attendee maximum, free teleconferencing, desktop, mouse, and keyboard sharing, change presenters, whiteboard, private and public chat, ability to record your webinar, hosted pre-recorded webcasts, Windows, Mac, and Linux, 100 megabytes shared file space, email, phone, and web mail support, free trial on sign-up. You may not get all of the features you want in a free webinar hosting service, but knowing what's absolutely essential, which features your webinar specifically needs, and where hidden costs potentially lie, will help you make a better informed choice and save you from hidden disaster. In video number 2, we're going to talk about lead generation webinars and how you can use them to boost the growth of your mailing list. Business Webinar Strategies, Lead Generation Webinars. Now that you've got a clearer picture about what a webinar is, web hosting services, and the specific features you may need or can take advantage of, it's time to start focusing on specific webinar strategies, starting with free lead generation webinars. This type of webinar is best designed to build your mailing list while boosting your credibility and expert status, the sole purpose being to keep people engaged in conversation with you. The best result for them is finding an authoritative, fresh, new source of niche information. For you, it's signing up pre-qualified future customers hungry for what you have to share or teach. Understanding your target market. A lead is nothing more or less than someone likely to buy. If you're selling short-body Ford pickup trucks and someone gives you a lead, they're hooking you up with people shopping for a vehicle who are more likely to buy from you. Someone just beginning to explore pickup trucks is not as strong a lead as someone who specifically wants a Ford short body, but they are still more likely to buy from you than someone who is shopping for a four-door sedan, or someone who isn't considering a new car at all. So your job when setting up your lead generation webinar is to pre-qualify potential attendees as thoroughly as possible. Remember, you'll most likely be limited, if you're starting out and are under budget constraints, by a webinar hosting service that sets a low limit on webinar registrants, such as 20 to 25 only. So you want those 20-odd people to be as highly qualified as possible, and your website, promotional efforts, emails, and sales pages, if you use one, all need to do that very specific job. By all means, do your research. Conduct polls, survey social media platforms where your market is most active, invest time in article marketing, guest posts, and blog posts, and be available for interviews. Then create a profile of your perfect attendee, ensuring you have at least 5 strong specifics you've narrowed the generic profile down to. For example, tradesman over 40 years old, interested in short-body Ford pickup trucks with tonneau covers, trailer sway control, and 6-speed transmissions. But it doesn't matter if your ultimate goal is to sell pickup trucks or ballet shoes. At this stage, all you need to focus on is making friends with your pre-qualified target audience. To continue with our car shopping analogy, 2 equally fatal mistakes to make. First, trying to sell your car shopping lead that pickup truck straight away before you've barely been introduced. And at the other end of the scale, forgetting that you do ultimately want them to buy. It's true that after your first webinar, your follow-up feedback and stats may actually prove that you've gotten your marketing mix slightly wrong or missed out on a key fact about your ideal attendee that you didn't know. And that's okay. Just take the new fact and adjust. No big deal. Remember, you're still making friends and finding out whether or not you both like lattes or prefer donut shop coffee. Troubleshooting your results. But what happens if your research seems to bring conflicting results? For example, you discover that your target audience seems to firmly split into two distinct groups. A wants to know all about one aspect of your niche, while B is strictly concerned with another. This is the point where you will need to decide, are you going to serve both groups? Can you serve both groups? Are both groups potential buyers? Will they open their wallets in the future for the sort of information or product you plan to sell? If both groups seem to be strong prospect material, don't make the mistake of trying to cover both areas of interest in one single lead generation webinar. Instead, plan to create a second, separate webinar, or else focus only on one group for now. Trying to serve both in the same webinar will please no one and reduce future conversions and contact opportunities. Another mistake new webinar presenters often make: doing all their surveying before planning the webinar, and then stopping survey efforts. Think back to memorable webinars you yourself have attended. The presenter most likely asked you to name your 3 biggest concerns, or bluntly invited subtopic suggestions in some similar way. This is sound strategy that shouldn't be ignored. Remember, at this point, you're still getting a feel for your ideal attendee, just as she is taking the first step towards getting to know and trust you. Interaction is good, especially before the webinar. That's what conversation is all about, and good conversations lead to credibility and friendship. But what do you talk about? Identifying your target attendee is one important part of planning an effective lead generation webinar. The other half of that coin is deciding what to talk about. Here's a tip. Lead generation webinars are usually informational in nature. You are telling your audience something they really want to know on a subject they are passionate about. Ideally, it's something other presenters or competitors haven't tackled. If they have, then you will want to either give the subject a new twist or provide the ultimate drop-dead simplification of a complex subject, complete with the answer that no one else wants to share. You're supplying the one big secret no one else will give away for free. Whether that's how to do something or facts they desperately want to know is entirely up to you. Ask yourself these essential questions. What can't they resist? What are they saying they want to know? What can drive them to action and inspire them to sign up for this particular webinar? Researching your competitors. Don't just research your target audience. Take a good look at your competitors too. What is the one piece of information they don't or won't part with, except at a high-ticket or one-on-one coaching level? What do you have to offer that is different and unique? What are the demographics at sites like Alexa, SEMrush, and Quantcast tell you about this particular niche audience? You're a member of this niche. What one thing would you love to have had more information about when you were just starting out, or at this time last year? Planning your lead generation webinar. You've got pre-qualified target attendees. You've got your absolute gem of information you're going to give them, for free, no strings attached. Now it's time to start planning, for real. Here's a look at some answers to questions you may be asking yourself at this stage. What is the best day of the week to hold my webinar? Midweek, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. But do take the time to survey your specific niche target to make sure they follow this accepted norm. How long should my free lead generation webinar be? The accepted length is somewhere between 30 to 45 minutes. If audience interaction is high, you can carry it to 1 hour maximum. How many should I invite? One common beginning presenter mistake lies in inviting approximately the same number of people that your webinar hosting provider allows. For instance, if your webinar hosting provider specifies a maximum of 25 people, inviting 30 people. Given the statistics showing an average response rate for all webinars of less than 50%, it would be more effective if you invited 50 to 60 people to your 25-seat event, besides which, you can legitimately use the principle of scarcity. There's only 25 seats available, to encourage them to take action and register today. How long before the webinar should I start promoting and inviting? Between the third and second week before your webinar is generally considered the optimum time to initiate invitations. Don't start too far in advance, and don't leave it to the last minute. 8 ways to plan and prep for your webinar. One of the most important jobs a lead generation webinar should do is to engage your attendees. Don't make it easy for them to walk away. Give them powerful reasons to stay. Your content will be key, of course, in achieving this end, but there are also simple strategies you can use to boost your efforts. Number 1, plan your handouts. Think back to those great webinars you've attended. Some of them may have contained handouts, such as worksheets, diagrams, short reports. All these can help enhance the value of your lead generation webinar. But if adding value is the only reason you're creating those handouts, you're missing a great opportunity. Use them to raise your potential attendees' curiosity level. Promise something with that handout, something that can only be completed or filled if she attends. Tantalize, promise, intrigue, and excite interest with your handouts or work materials. Your potential attendee should be thinking, "Wow, if that's just the worksheet, I can't wait to hear what the presenter has to say." Number 2, surprise your attendees. Plan handouts afterwards too, or other unexpected free gifts that only people who stick with you to the end of the webinar can receive. A reward for participating. Many people lead the attendee straight to a paid offer, and this is certainly a valid tactic. But if you are able to surprise your attendee instead with a fabulous bonus gift that will make her look for more from you, don't be afraid to give it away. Go for it. Consider it a lifetime investment and a real trust builder. Number 3, don't leave it all up to your webinar hosting service. Yes, most reliable services will send automatic reminders before the event, right up to an hour or less before, the times and intervals predetermined by you. But continue your principle of surprise and augment your web hosting service's automatic reminders with an email containing either a link to your handouts or a link to a short video, no more than 2 minutes in length, tops, and preferably just less than 1 minute. Number 4, make your potential attendees use their visual senses. Talk directly face-to-face in this video. Speak a little more loudly than normal and slightly more quickly. Remember to breathe. Try to smile while speaking. Not a big artificial grin, but as often as you can naturally squeeze a smile in. Be excited. Be straightforward. Say what you need to say, and cheerily end with a straightforward call to action. Something like, register while there are still seats. Remember, I'm limiting this to only the first 20 people. Do it right now and I'll see you on the 15th. You want your potential attendee to hold a clear visual image of you, being positive and excited in her mind. A video is the perfect vehicle to help you feel she knows you and already has a personal connection with you. Human nature being what it is, this means she will be much more likely to remember you and actually attend your webinar. It goes without saying you'll plan to promote your webinar in other ways too. Your social networks, more importantly, your target attendees' social networks, Twitter, your blog, etc. Number 5, use a checklist. There's a lot to do when creating a successful webinar. You should have started your planning at least a couple of months in advance. A checklist will help make sure you don't miss any steps, suffering the dreaded last-minute "oh no" syndrome, as in, "oh no, I forgot to order a toll-free number," or "oh no, I forgot to tweet the webinar starting in half an hour." Number 6. Assemble your webinar aids ahead of time. You'll most likely want to integrate several communication methods while presenting your webinar: screenshots, whiteboard writing, clicking on desktop links, interacting with an audience member. All these are necessary areas to triple check well in advance. Make sure any apps or programs are functional and that you know how to use them. Make sure your slideshow is properly sequenced and ready to roll, and all graphics or documents are in the correct order. Have graphics created well ahead of time, ditto for the handouts. Arrange for a transcriptionist to sit in on the call if you're planning to outsource and turn your webinar into an information product. Decide how you're going to record it and who is in charge of that detail. It's one of the most common mistakes, believe it or not, forgetting to record. Number 7. Use a script. Don't just wing it. Even Olympic figure skaters know the danger of adding extra moves and deviating too far from the perfectly polished program they're planning to skate. Public speaking or storytelling works much better if you have some sort of written script, even if that's only a sketchy outline scribbled on the back of an envelope. Besides, a good script can be turned into an information product in its own right, a paid extra or an unexpected post-webinar bonus. And finally, number 8. Practice makes perfect. Whatever you do, choose a webinar hosting service that allows you to practice and run through your webinar more than once. Make sure your hosting program dashboard has some way of showing you what your attendee will see, such as a thumbnail of how your screen is appearing as you talk. Then run through that puppy until it's as smooth as butter. Run through it again with a couple of friends sitting in as your audience. The most reassuring key point to keep in mind: practicing your webinar is not something you do to ensure you'll be picture perfect word for word. It's really just for building your confidence ahead of time. If you enter a strange building on your way to a job interview, the fact you don't really know where you're going, running the risk of taking a wrong turn, can really add to your stress level. The same thing goes with mothers who take small children or even teenagers to their new school or college ahead of the new term. Knowing exactly where to go removes a major stress layer and helps you navigate your dashboard with confidence, focusing on your attendee and your message, instead of wondering where the mute button might be. The real thing. These are all pre-webinar tactics designed to ensure that on the day of the event, your attendance quota is full and a buzz is already generating. Now let's discuss the actual webinar itself. You've practiced until you're thoroughly familiar with your webinar hosting dashboard. You've had a couple of perfect run-throughs, so the real thing ought to be a piece of cake, right? It could very well be, as long as you've remembered to take into account that stage fright before opening night is 10 times more debilitating than stage fright during your first practice or two. Don't end up after the event, however, realizing you made these common mistakes. Rushing your speech. While it's a good idea to keep the pace lively and speak a little more quickly than normal, watch for the tendency to gabble and jump ahead of yourself. If you find this starting to happen, stop and take a deep breath before your next sentence. Remember to breathe. Being unaware of your background. If you're doing any candid webcam headshots, make sure you've thought ahead of time about the physical background and object behind you. No one expects a perfect home office background, like something out of Home and Garden, but you don't want to be like the time management and organization specialist who didn't realize a discarded sock was draped over the arm of her chair. Above all, you don't want anything that distracts, so remove that sparkly wind chime that keeps swinging in the breeze from your open window. Take the telephone off the hook. You don't really want it to ring and ring while you're in the middle of your pitch, do you? Likewise, if children are playing around your feet, that will only work if your target audience consists of moms with children of similar age. Anyone else will be distracted by it and lose focus on your message, so hire a babysitter or ask your mom, sister, or best friend to be your helper for that 1 hour. Being unaware of your lighting. Again, you don't need perfection or fancy professional lighting, but do be aware of lighting conditions if you're planning on using a video clip or webcam during your webinar. Don't just test video components out in a practice run-through. Make that run-through happen at the exact time of day you're planning for your actual webinar if you're using natural light. And remember, the weather conditions can affect and change your lighting too. Watch out for backlighting. You don't want to be in silhouette unless you're in the witness protection program or deep undercover. Watch for distracting shadows and patterns. Years ago, I saw a presentation in which the shadow of a parrot bobbed about on the wall to the right of the presenter's head. This was in a workplace training video, and afterwards we all agreed that we didn't remember a word of the instruction we were supposed to be receiving. We were all too busy being entertained by the shadow parrot. Reading your script. Think back to the last time you heard someone reading in your grade school days. Not very exciting, was it? Blatantly reading your script is the quickest way to kill your attendees' interest. Even if you use the full script as a guide, use a yellow highlighter to accent only key points to jog your memory, so you can be free to focus on the conversation. Color theorists say yellow is the best color to stimulate learning and retention. Being too slick. While professionalism normally makes for more powerful presentations, overdoing it can make your webinar seem too dry or lacking in personality. Being too sloppy. Likewise, no one wants to wait while you frantically try to find a website that no longer exists or a diagram that's missing. Not remembering who's watching. New presenters sometimes get so carried away by the bells and whistles, especially if they're including a video component, they forget who they're talking to. In other words, if you're talking to a group of corporate accountants, don't sit there in your bunny slippers wrangling your 2-year-old. Instead, dress professionally. Use a neutral background. By all means, use professionally produced, royalty-free music as an intro and outro. Stick to the point and make any witty anecdotes short. Likewise, if you're talking to a group of moms with ADHD children, don't wear a white lab coat and quote 1,000 scientific statistics. Instead, be one of them. Relate to their problem. Sympathize with their lack of sleep. Care about their child. It really just boils down to 2 things: awareness and common sense. Too many I statements. While storytelling and personal anecdotes can help make that all-important sense of connection, never lose track that it is all about your attendee. The only thing a story or anecdote should do is show her you understand her needs, fears, frustrations, or problems. Once you've done that, move on like an express train towards your main message. Stick to the point. And make sure you say you and your significantly more than you say I. Being a one-trick pony. By this, I mean not understanding the most basic principle of salesmanship and retail. And that is, people don't buy till the 7th time they visit your store. You've simply made contact and introduced yourself in your lead-generating webinar. And although for some people that's enough, they like you, they'll buy, others will need to warm up to you. This is where you need to keep up the relationship with good follow-up efforts already planned and in the wings, including any or all of the following: follow-up emails, free email courses, bonus reports or product they can instantly download, follow-up survey, postcards or snail mail letters, phone calls if they've provided their phone number, text messages if they've indicated they prefer SMS, free coaching call offer, exclusive valuable information. But the most important part not to miss when creating your lead generation webinar, and believe it or not, people new to the webinar creation process do forget this, is providing a strong call to action. In fact, it's best to invite your attendees to take voluntary action to stay in touch with you more than once during your webinar. At the beginning of your webinar, at midpoint, and at the end. Just as it takes more than one visit to a store to make some people comfortable enough to buy, it can also take more than one call to action. The first two should be low-key and cheerfully direct. The third can be your big push, and it doesn't have to be directed towards a sale. Instead, it can be directed towards your follow-up offer, such as your invitation to sign up for a free post-webinar coaching call or email course. If you want to move straight towards promoting your paid product, here's a secret many people take ages to learn. The higher the ticket price on any paid offer, the more you'll want to warm up or woo your new subscriber. And if your paid offer is on the higher end of the scale, be sure to provide an alternative exit offer your cash-strapped or cautious attendee can choose instead. Not only so you're taking advantage of a way to make more profit, but as a way to keep your existing attendees staying interested, not running off in disappointment while mentally erasing you from her resource circle. You can make that offer a stripped-down version of your main offer, the transcript or ebook only instead of your ebook and 6 CD set, the silver version of your membership instead of the gold version. You can offer a payment plan. For those requesting a payment plan, you can pay in 6 easy monthly installments. Or you can offer a sample. Make it free and valuable, and you may inspire them to love you for life. If you choose the latter option, don't make the mistake of running with the tired old formula of showing them the what but not the how in your sample version. Instead, feed them a complete self-contained morsel. Not only will this feel like a true gift instead of bait, but a true gourmet appetizer can inspire your attendee to purchase far more powerfully than a complete meal full of empty calories. No matter what you choose to include in your webinar calls to action, make sure it's just one way to stay in touch among a steady, regular stream of dates you have planned for the immediate future. You will need to nurture your new relationship and keep it thriving and growing. You want your attendee to not only remember the face that goes with the name on her email inbox, but actually get a warm feeling and look forward to your message the next time she sees it. Finally, don't forget your lead generation webinar is just that, a way to create a buzz, get you known, generate leads, and make friends for life. The more carefully you plan it, the less opportunities to cement the relationship you'll miss. And when it comes to calls to action, don't miss the one to yourself. Move beyond planning and just do it. Make sure your lead generation webinar ensures that you are the first person your attendee thinks of when it comes to purchasing your type of product or services in the near future. In video number 3, we're going to be talking about some of the ways you can actually make money by hosting free webinar events. Business webinar strategies: how to grow your business and put more cash in your pocket with webinars. Once you've got lead generation webinars under your belt, it's time to move on to selling your own products or promoting products as an affiliate with free webinars to generate not just leads, but actual cash. Giving away great information. As with lead generation webinars, your content starts with giving away great information. It used to be the accepted strategy to show the what to do, but not the how to do it. In other words, give away only enough information to tease, but today's online buyers are less patient and more savvy. Competition is fiercer now too, and there is a lot more of it. It's even more vital to offer your target customer content that goes the extra mile to deliver what they want and need. And your whole message should let them know there's lots more where that came from. This means you need to have several more paid offerings ready and waiting in the wings to continue the great momentum you build with each webinar. This includes upsells, downsells, cross-sells, deluxe versions, gold and platinum versions, affiliate products that enhance and augment your own, and joint venture products designed to offer especially high value. All these can be offered during and directly at the close of the webinar, your call to action, or presented during follow-up. How to add value and profit potential when you're practically new. You're a comparatively new entry in your field, and even though you ran a lead generation webinar, there were only 25 seats. 5 people showed up, even though 18 of the original 60 or so you invited actually took the time to register. Sure, what you delivered was so great it created a satisfying amount of buzz, but now that it's time to generate actual cash with your next webinar, you're realizing that selling this special report for $19.99 is hardly worth your time, even if you take into account the fact you're keeping your new subscribers and cementing their loyalty, as well as attracting a few new prospects. Besides, you've been too busy to create that report yet. So, how do you take that momentum and convert it straight to some serious sales profit making for you while you work on that special report? Using the webinar model, there are 3 strategies to consider: holding a summit, joint venture partnerships, and selling affiliate products for your JV partner. You may think that attracting a more powerful JV partner or celebrity guest is a long shot, but it doesn't have to be. There's one simple rule to remember when going after celebrity or high-power potential partners. Present an offer designed and fine-tuned to please your potential guest or JV partner's own subscribers. Holding a summit. The main challenge of this tactic lies successfully attracting not just one, but several high-powered guests. Still, target their own audiences, and you will have a genuine shot at succeeding. A summit involves at least 6 celebrity guests, all contributing material or time on a single subject or on one aspect of that main topic. It can take a panel format with a joint conference going on. Check with your webinar hosting provider to see if you need to add extra hosts for the event or simply manage it via mic and desktop sharing. Or it can involve different presenters in their own webinar segment at different times. You can promote your webinar summit in a variety of ways, using headshots and blurbs about each guest. You can offer 6 different master classes at the same time so that people have to choose only one and pay to receive recordings of the rest. Or you can offer these recordings free to the first 20 registrants. Flexibility is another great webinar advantage. You could also pace the master classes so that for 3 days straight, there's one celebrity guest at the same time every morning, and another every afternoon. And 6 is a minimum number of summit guests. If you're able to attract more celebrity guests, you could promote your summit as happening twice a day for 7 full days. The format is as flexible as your guest list, leaving you room for customization and creativity. For example, if you held a summit on Facebook sales profits, making your business grow 200%, and approached several Facebook marketing experts with a tightly planned summit, assuming even just 4 accepted your invitation, you would automatically reach not only your own list, but your guests' subscribers too. The trick, of course, is attracting that first prestigious guest. That's why holding a summit is something better done after you've already held at least one webinar with a single powerful guest in that niche. You'll have more leverage with which to convince multiple guests, with each acceptance generating more power and more compelling incentive to the rest of your prospective celebrity guests. Combined, all this firepower dramatically increases your summit's focused appeal, your base for potential attendees, your promotional reach, your guests will add their own star power efforts to promoting the summit, and your potential profits. Even if you were to allow people to register for your summit for free, there are solid ways to make significant profit from the event, even if you don't have your own product to sell. Sign up as an affiliate for your guests' individual products sold during or usually after the webinar summit. Sell each recorded guest presentation. Allow registrants access to each recording only for 24 hours, letting them know that After that time, each recording will be sold as a paid product. Split the profits any way you choose with your guest, or not at all if that's what you've agreed on. The beauty of the latter model lies in having automatically created product to sell. Valuable content that will increase not only your own subscribers, but your guests list members too. Another powerful reason to add one or several celebrity guests to your webinar or summit: your own traffic stats might look a little flat for any given month, and you might even see some dips in traffic depending on how much content you're adding. But your celebrities' traffic stats should indicate higher traffic numbers and a more steady climb each month, also depending on how much content they're publishing. You are not only adding all that firepower and traffic to your own webinar or webinar summit, you are aligning yourself up there in the firmament, sandwiched between them. Their success becomes your success. Their authority becomes your authority. What's more, you are the mastermind who brought them all together and handed them to your combined audiences on a silver platter. Well, not really, considering their own promotional efforts, but human nature being what it is, that's how you are forever viewed after the event, particularly if you work hard to keep yourself perpetually on your new audience base's horizon. 10 ways not to make JV partnership mistakes. There are basic mistakes not to make if you really want to increase your chances of attracting one or more celebrity guests or JV partners. The following tips will help you avoid these. Number 1. Make sure you've successfully held at least one webinar, even if it was just for basic lead generation. People are much more likely to consider your proposal if you present proof that you know how to plan a successful webinar already. Number 2. Research your idea thoroughly. Use surveys and polls. Check your potential guests' stats as well as their competitors. Have data to back up your projections. Number 3. Plan your potential summit or JV event as thoroughly as if it's actually happening. Don't approach them until every component has been thought out and set in place. Each assured answer you give to probing questions will reassure potential partners you know what you're doing and have researched your idea thoroughly. Number 4. Set up a professional website already dedicated to your webinar or webinar summit. By professional, I don't mean overly slick or 5 years in the making. I mean containing every resource or element your potential guest might need. Number 5. On your event website, fill in the faces and profile slots of each celebrity guest with headshots and bios as they accept. Don't just add confirmed guests after the fact. Have slots waiting with blanks for the final number of guests you hope to attract. Seeing who else is contributing, even if only one person has so far accepted for sure, can attract yes answers from other guests more quickly than any argument. Number 6. Have affiliate or promotional resources already in place, even if finished artwork is only roughed at this point prior to guest confirmations. Have articles, banners, code, apps, widgets, and any other resource you can think of ready and waiting for each guest to use. Number 7. Make sure your hosting has the capacity to handle a much larger guest list. This is one reason to consider signing up with a service like Adobe Connect as your webinar provider right from the start. The potential to host larger gatherings. Be able to answer the number of guests you're set up to handle the instant you're asked. Number 8. Show them you're ready and eager to promote. Have full email autoresponder series ready to go, as well as press releases. Offer to interview your participant partners and let them sell the interview recording to their own lists. Show them you have already set up outsourcing for transcriptions they can offer their lists as a valuable bonus or paid upsell. Add free, rebrandable special reports to their resources. Number 9. Make it ridiculously easy to participate. If all your celebrity guest has to do is promote the summit to his or her list, with all the material they need ready and waiting to grab and drop, it becomes a no-brainer to give you a yes answer, particularly when your format is set up with potential for multiple profit opportunities. Number 10. Get your potential guests excited about what your summit or JV partnership can do for their subscribers. If you've thought everything out thoroughly enough and can show a reality to your vision using the tactics suggested above, this shouldn't be hard because you'll already be genuinely excited about potential profits yourself. Joint Venture Partnership Webinars. We've taken a look at the most complex model, the summit, but you can, and in most cases probably should, start out with far less complex partnerships. Admit it, having seen what's involved in putting together a summit model, doesn't it now seem comparatively easy to attract just one JV partner? The beauty of entering into a simple, single partner venture is that it doesn't have to be intimidating or complicated. You can choose simply to promote your new JV partner's own highly converting product solely as an affiliate if you choose. Even with only one successful JV partnered webinar or summit under your belt, you have aligned yourself with and influenced the decision makers in your industry or niche, not only in their eyes, but in the eyes of the general public and your combined subscriber bases. You can also create an even simpler webinar by interviewing your celebrity guest and using the Q&A period at the end to make sure the webinar recording contains added relevance to its target audience, who will identify with the questioners in the audience. This leaves you with multiple options. You can negotiate the right to sell the recorded webinar interview, your JV partner can sell the interview, or you can give the webinar recording away as a high-value bonus. Sell affiliate products. This is one of the easiest ways to create webinars for cash. You don't even have to make a JV partner out of the product creator if you want to keep it quick and dirty, although they'll most likely be highly interested in a JV partnership later, once they see your affiliate sales results. What's one of the easiest ways to make webinar money from affiliate products? Take a high-ticket product, especially software, specific methods, or applications, and create a tutorial webinar around that product, showing people how to easily use it. The key here is to select a product you already use and are enthusiastic about. Here's a tip. Look for rebrandable products too. Sometimes converting a master resale rights product and branding it with your own name and logo can prove highly effective in increasing your popularity and exposure, along with solid sales. Pitfalls of partnered webinars. With any type of JV partnership webinar, whether you're selling an affiliate product or running a summit with a guest list potential up in the hundreds, there are a few vital mistakes you must remember not to make. The following tips will help keep you on track. Number 1, don't try to be all things to all people. Don't abandon your niche focus just because your potential reach has expanded dramatically. Keep your webinar topic specific, not generic. Try to reach too broad a potential audience and your signups will actually decrease. This provides one other powerful argument for starting with a single JV partnership and not the summit model. A summit model, of necessity, will showcase guests each with a specialized area in your niche. Even though each guest is going to be marketing to his or her own unique demographic, market your total summit to the specific guest base you want to target. Number 2, don't overextend yourself. There's a fine line between being ambitious and setting yourself up for disaster. This isn't meant to scare you, but do think through every aspect of your JV partnered webinar plan to make sure it's one you can easily handle at this stage in your career. If not, table the more complex ideas, such as hosting a summit, for further down your sales funnel, and use your simple affiliate product selling webinar to attract a JV partner. Or use your simple but successful single JV partnered webinar to attract your summit guests later in the year. Number 3, don't make things unnecessarily complicated. Remember that by keeping it simple for yourself, your webinar will also be refreshingly simple for your guests and partners and your potential attendees to enjoy. Make "just do it" your mantra and use the results to help you fine-tune your next webinar. Number 4, set up solid tracking. Remember to survey at all stages of your webinar for cash process, paying attention to feedback, particularly unexpected results you didn't consider or plan for. Besides, letting your potential partners confidently know you've got tracking and tuning well covered will increase their admiration for your professionalism, as well as invite more yes answers to your proposals. Number 5, keep the focus on your content. It's the narrow focus of your content that will appeal to the specific attendee you have in mind. Remember that without an exceptionally good steak, barbecues just disappoint. Number 6, keep in mind your profit potential. You're going for the cash now. If you're keeping your webinar model simple and only inviting a limited number of guests, your price is going to have to compensate for the smaller numbers if you expect a certain profit ratio. For example, if your webinar hosting service only allows 20 guests, you'll need a higher ticket price to get the same profits as a 25-guest service, assuming you've marketed your webinar to a large enough number that all seats are filled. Your other option is to arrange specially with the hosting service, if that's an option, to increase the number of seats for that particular webinar event, which will have to be reflected in the pricing, of course. Creating a strong sales plan. When you are shopping around for potential JV partners, a focused plan will be your first tool designed to convince them you know what you're doing. This plan should include a strong, clear outline, your webinar message and goal, your specific target audience, promotion tactical outline, budget and metric projections, and a summary. Your summary should look something like this. Facebook Sales Profits, Making Your Business Grow 200%, presented by Jane Doe, will take place on Tuesday, May 15th, 2011 at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Time. It will feature Facebook authority Joe Schmo, author of 101 Facebook Secrets Your Grandmother Didn't Know. Attendees will learn solid tactics and tips for leveraging their marketing using the latest Facebook change benefits, illustrated by solid statistical proof of Schmo's own 200% increase in profits during May 2010 and May 2011. A question and answer period will conclude the presentation. Remember, while your sales pages and emails need exciting, punchy headlines and dynamic text, your summary should instead focus clearly on outlining exactly what your webinar is going to be about. In other words, it should read more like a press release. Here's a tip. Remember to use video to support your webinar promotion efforts. Create a 1 to 2 minute video demonstrating one point from your webinar. Distribute and promote on YouTube or TubeMogul. Videos offer the chance to go viral and create buzz more quickly and easily than any other method in today's web culture, and they are augmenting your webinar efforts at creating a recognizable presence and sensory connection with your audience. Webinar management. Let's finish off with a webinar moneymaker very few people seem to have caught on to, and that is creating, planning, and setting up webinars for other people. Once you've got enough webinar experience under your belt for the process to become routine, use a lead generation webinar to locate your target market, people who would rather have other people do most of their webinar setup and work. Create templates and set up a basic webinar plan. Decide on a budget and calculate how many webinars you can handle, if you'll be able to outsource components such as sales copy, autoresponder management, and tracking. How much of your budget can you devote to outsourcing? What profit margin you need to make? Whether or not it's a strategy you could truly enjoy. Use a webinar to promote your services. Even if you try webinar management and decide it's not for you, you should have enough material and experience under your belt to write the definitive ebook on webinar creation. And coincidentally, selling your own product via webinar is the next module we're going to take a look at. Benefits of webinars for cash generation. Using webinars to generate cash offers on other people's products offers one of the quickest ways to start profits coming in while building your niche authority. provided you've done your homework and remember to keep it simple at your end and focus on their target customers as well as yours. In the next video, we'll be talking about how you can get paid to teach what you know. Business Webinar Strategies: How to grow your business and put more cash in your pocket with webinars. Webinars can do more than generate leads or allow you to sell other people's products. They can help you sell your own. When I said the word products, you probably just thought about selling a special report or an ebook, didn't you? Well, you could, but let's take a closer look at that particular business model. Here's the problem. You create a power-packed 50-page ebook. You outsource its creation, paying $500 for the privilege. That's not the lowest price, but by no means the highest either. Or you create it yourself and spend 2 months of your precious non-earning time in the process. Let's not even mention graphics creation. Your webinar hosting provider allows you 20 seats per webinar before soaking you for extra costs per seat. You don't know if it will fly, so you decide to stick with your 20-seat limit. You fix a price of $67 on your ebook, and since you're still relatively new, that seems like a high-ticket price to charge, making you a little nervous. You plan a webinar based on your ebook topic, promote it, and send out invitations to your list of 107 people, warning them that only the first 20 registrants will get a seat. It takes you approximately 8 weeks to plan, set up, promote, and market your webinar, besides setting in place all your follow-up strategies. 20 people register. You're ecstatic. You faithfully and diligently send out reminders. 5 people actually show up in your virtual conference room for the actual webinar on the actual day. 2 of these buy your ebook. Congratulations! You've made exactly $134 for 8 weeks' work, before expenses that is, and minus the $500 for your outsourced ebook. Kind of discouraging, isn't it? Yet it's a scenario newer webinar presenters run into all the time. Analyzing and revisiting your webinar business model. There's nothing wrong with selling your ebook. Having your own product is a vital part of becoming a successful online entrepreneur, and ebooks and special reports are great to use as upsells or downsells. But using that single lone ebook as the main focus of your webinar has you unwittingly leaving a heck of a lot of moolah on your table. Here's a better model. Create your ebook, or better yet, take the ebook you already lost money creating. Break it down into 12 sections and create step-by-step lessons from its packages. Create an interactive webinar where you literally walk attendees through every process you're talking about in your book, providing them with coaching. This is the chance to ask questions and get answers during the webinar. Offer it as a high-value coaching program with a recurring monthly or weekly fee. In this second model, you analyzed weak spots and high points from your first unsuccessful webinar, the one where you sold only 2 copies of your ebook. You used your feedback analysis and tracking to tighten up your message, sales material, and promotional focus. You ensure you are targeting an even tighter audience and ascertained that they are actually willing to pay for the information you're presenting. Congratulations! You have repurposed that ebook and presented it as a higher ticket coaching program or interactive tutorial series. You hook in 8 students, each paying $27 per month for 12 weeks on top of your $67 price for the book. And yes, you did allow a credit back to the students who had already bought the book during the first webinar. That brings you in $947 in steady revenue, leaving your customers ready for your even higher ticket one-on-one coaching. As you can see, our modest but realistic newbie scenario involves making far less than the 6 figures various tired old gurus keep promising. But almost $1,000 sounds a lot better than $134, don't you think? Just by changing your focus. Next time, you'll hone this webinar model even more expertly. You'll target better. You're constantly building your subscriber base and narrowing your market down to customers who want to pay. And there are even more time-saving, money-making teaching tricks you can do to keep your costs down even more. Creating courses from PLR or Master Resale Rights content. Instead of reinventing the wheel, busting your budget on ghostwriters, or straining your brain for 2 months in content creation, simply create your course or coaching program from PLR, or Private Label Rights material, or Master Resale Rights content. The beauty of this strategy? You purchase your content in one click, spend a minimal amount of time breaking it down into ready-to-go lessons, and focus the rest of your efforts in creating a superior coaching or teaching webinar series. If this is your second teaching webinar or webinar series after creating content from scratch, you're in an even better spot. This time, your reputation has started to build thanks to previous happy students and testimonials. You've streamlined your process. You make 3 times the amount you did with your first coaching webinar series. You begin to look for ways to maximize your webinar teaching profits even more. Repurpose content. Another great way to create teaching webinars quickly and inexpensively. Repurpose your own old, already created content. Did people buy your ebook, then ask you questions about the same few areas? If so, that's a big clue you've inadvertently created a teaching opportunity. Break your ebook down into teaching modules. Add or incorporate new developments in that field or method since you wrote your first ebook. Pay particular attention to addressing or demonstrating the problem areas people questioned you about, and you've got a winning product. How to teach by using webinars. This gives you a picture which leaves you saying either, "Hey, I could do that," or "Humph, I could do even better than that." Whichever version resonates with you, it means it's more than time for you to take advantage of this particular webinar model. So let's go back over the webinar teaching coaching model and break down step by step exactly what makes the difference between no profit and profit. What to teach using webinars. The truth is there are types of content more powerfully suited to being taught interactively than others. Here's a look at a few that automatically generate a higher rate of success. Refresher courses, how to quickly master new changes in a system, how to quickly master new features in software upgrades or media platforms, how to master difficult technical or mechanical challenges, how to refine skills to an even greater level. In addition, keep in mind that webinars are ideally suited for kinesthetic learners, meaning people who need to perform an action hands-on before they can learn it. Let's take an even closer look at these suggestions. Number 1, refresher courses. A refresher course is a great way to boost your message that you are the go-to person in your niche. It doesn't matter whether you taught the original subject or someone else did. What you are doing is helping niche members stay on top of latest developments or take advantage of nifty features they may have missed when struggling through the original subject material the first time. Here's the secret. It's that one tiny trick or tweak you can show them that makes people truly feel as if they've mastered applications like Adobe Photoshop. And that's the sort of gem you can offer with refresher courses. You can also take material people have been using in a mediocre manner and turn them into experts by demystifying the mediocre. Do this and you'll gain far more importance and weight with that niche than the application or product's original creator. And you'll reap even more profit because the product for you is already made and you didn't have to invest time and money in its creation. Just make sure you're not violating any legal rights, of course. Here's a tip. Consider approaching the product's creator and create a JV opportunity so he can endorse and help you promote your new teaching webinar, showing him, of course, how this will cement reputation and increase profits for both of you. If a subject is general, such as marketing, you can give it your own unique twist. Narrow the focus down and show your attendees one simple trick that delivers on your refresher course promise. For example, if you promise to show them 27 tricks to understanding any graphic software package, make sure those tricks are not only powerful, but easy to remember and put into habitual use. Make sure at least 5 of those 27 tricks significantly increase user confidence, significantly increase user enjoyment, and make the product, software, or app feel even more valuable. It's important to remember that when you're offering a refresher course, you are helping people to own the subject they are investing in, the one they're so committed to mastering. For example, if your attendee is a painter, you are helping him own color. If your attendee is an equestrian, you are helping him own mastering the half pass. If your attendee is a fisherman, you are helping him own casting with a fly rod. If your attendee is a graphic designer, you are helping him own layer handling and transparency. The real trick to helping students succeed spectacularly is to zero in on mastering or refining one single task. Besides, leaving the other 4 tasks your attendee wants to tackle allows you to create 4 more quick, simple refresher webinars. Number 2, how to quickly master new changes in the system. Technically, this could easily come under the heading of refresher course, except that when you show someone how to master a new development or change in a long-established system, a good strategy is to offer this for free. Helping people overcome frustration can never be underestimated as an investment. Do that and you instantly become their hero, gain their trust, supplement your credibility and authority, inspire loyalty, and create a viral product capable of sending you new subscribers. Offering this handy, quick service for free via webinar is a better strategy than creating a quick video. Its interactive quality makes people feel as if they are being coached or mentored by you. They become part of a special inner circle that joined you as you shared a secret their competitors are still vainly struggling with. True, you didn't actually make any money this time, but when you offer your brand new webinar coaching course, the people you've helped will often be right there, eagerly waiting at the head of the line and telling everyone else how great a teacher you are. Number 3, how to master new features in software upgrades or media platforms. Should you charge for showing people how to master new software upgrade changes? If the product or software in question is yours, no. If you're hoping to sell your subscribers a related product, no. If the software upgrade can be demonstrated in less than 10 minutes, no. If the software upgrade can be covered in 1 full hour-long lesson or more, definitely yes. Number 4, how to master difficult technical or mechanical challenges. Another service that can create tremendous gratitude and goodwill, showing people how to master difficult techniques. These can be low-tech or high-tech challenges. For example, showing people the correct way to fillet a fish would be low-tech. Showing people how to diagnose transistor capacitor short circuits belongs to the high-tech range. Whether or not you charge is strictly a question of your own experience and judgment with the market and what your market will pay for. Again, you need to determine your goal clearly up front. Are you more interested in generating leads, creating goodwill, fostering reliance on your expertise, and are they ready to pay for it? Number 5, how to refine skills to an even greater degree. This one area is where you can make the most money when teaching by webinar. Why? Well, people who already possess skills but who want to refine and fine-tune them are the real core die-hard enthusiasts in that field. They are committed. They will go the extra distance to learn. They expect to pay more for gaining exclusive knowledge that sets them ahead of their peers. And they most likely already shelled out serious money on their hobby or interest. Their perceived value of your offering is more along the lines of seeking coaching rather than teaching, and specialized coaching commands bigger bucks. If you are a true expert in any one method, skill, or field, creating teaching or coaching webinars in every aspect of that method, skill, or field should be a regular part of your sales funnel and marketing mix. Secrets of teaching successfully. There's a difference between learning how to use something and how to master it. If a product is your own in the first place, it ought to become much easier to persuade people you are the person to teach its intricacies and to work with it as a coach or teacher. Nevertheless, the true success in teaching by webinar has nothing to do with how well you know your subject or how comfortable you are with the webinar format. It has more to do with how completely you capture your attendees' interest, how well you focus on your attendees' needs and goals, and how well you teach. Combine interesting, dynamic delivery with clarity and simplicity, and your reputation for teaching will quickly overshadow the actual subject. Here are 6 proven tips for maximizing your reputation as a teacher or coach. Number 1, present teaching webinars with regularity. Whatever time interval you decide upon, stick to it. People should be able to look forward to your next webinar without even wondering if you're going to be doing one. Number 2, brand your teaching series so that it becomes habitual for people to expect more offerings. Not just with your logo, but with the format you announce and promote new webinars too. Even the colors of your sales pages should trigger happy feelings when your email links send them to new webinar sales pages. Number 3, expect to create a buzz. The great part about presenting regular teaching webinars at intervals, rather than creating one Mondo teaching project for sale, lies in the buzz it will create, with momentum growing at each new teaching series. With this in mind, don't just focus on your content. Utilize every tip and trick at your command to encourage your offerings to go viral. Number 4, use video messages to give people a sampling of your instruction or coaching methods. Videos are like mini webinar samples. Demonstrate one small but crucial point in your field. Post it on YouTube or TubeMogul and drive traffic to it from your blog, forums, and social networks. Number 5, use strong headlines and calls to action. Yes, especially in your viral videos. Number 6, use your webinar tools to enhance your message. Take into account your audience's preferred learning methods. Remember, within your webinar you can use whiteboards, slide presentations, video demonstration, video interaction face-to-face, audio, desktop sharing, and question and answer sessions or interactivity. It's not enough just to create interest, however. Now it's time to deliver. How to vault your teaching to the next level. If you're nervous about teaching, think of it more as sharing. Allow yourself to become excited about helping your attendees. And use these 12 tips to ensure that your delivery packs a punch they'll enjoy and remember. Number 1, dive right in. Tell them exactly what they're going to learn and why it's going to change their life. Be clear about this, offering them a glimpse of a learning structure they can relate to and count on. Number 2, engage emotions. If you can connect on a personal, emotional level, you've tapped into the biggest secret source of fan loyalty. Number 3, use surveys to find out what their biggest problems are in your field. Listen to their complaints. Fill those gaps. This might seem basic, but you'd be surprised how many people put together online teaching programs based on what they feel comfortable teaching rather than what people are asking for at the present moment. Number 4, interact. Experience in teaching by webinar has proven solidly across the board that people connect much better on every level, emotionally, engagement-wise, trust-wise, if they are given a chance to participate in real time rather than passively receiving instruction. Number 5, allow questions during your class. If you're a beginning webinar coach or the subject easily warrants it, you can ask that all questions be reserved for the question and answer period following the class. But studies seem to consistently prove that people engage and learn more confidently when they are allowed to interact in real time as instruction is unfolding. Here's a tip. Use the hand-raising function of your webinar to give structure to these interruptions. Number 6, use structure. Human beings naturally love repetition. By creating a structure and using it as a skeleton or framework every time in the same way, you will psychologically create habits and show them what they can expect. People aren't bored by structure. Studies show they actually prefer it. Number 7, use your actual content, delivery, and reward system to keep it fresh. These are the aspects of your teaching that allow you your greatest creativity and connection. Your delivery framework, on the other hand, provides the anchor keeping everything grounded and familiar. Combine tips 6 and 7 and you'll have invented a winning system. Number 8. Don't make assumptions. Nothing loses an attendee quicker than leaving them in the cold, wondering what a term you just used means. Clarify everything. Have slides pop up providing simple definitions of technical terms, or ask your attendees if they are clear about a procedure or term before proceeding. Number 9. Teach with passion, but don't outpace your students. There's a fine line between sweeping the class forward with you and leaving them behind. Think back to trying to follow along behind some expert teacher or coach. At first you were enthusiastic, but when they raced ahead without giving you time to assimilate information or threw you off with some technical term, you soon got left behind and disengaged. The trick to avoid doing this to your student lies in observing number 6 above and in the next tip. Number 10. Don't show off your knowledge. They already have accepted you as the expert. Instead, enable them to do it themselves. Your attitude should be, "You can do it, it's easy." Encourage them to complete steps right there within the webinar. Remember, it's not about how good you are, but about how good they can be immediately. Number 11. Question your students before your webinar. Ask questions about their needs before they register, after they register, and immediately before your presentation begins in real time. Use the question function in your webinar services login procedure for the latter. Number 12. Research their biggest reward. It's also not enough to assume that learning how to do something is their only goal in signing up. What reward are they looking for? Do they want a certificate? Are they only going to sign up for something if it counts towards college accreditation? Will their reward be an increase in status among their peers? The emotional reward of mastering a challenge? Advancing themselves towards a goal? Tap into that reward and your presentations will really resonate with your students. By the time you get to the teaching area, you should be thoroughly familiar with all the aspects of webinar creation: structure, scheduling, features your webinar hosting service provides, limits and parameters, your attendees' needs, wants, likes, and dislikes. Put it all together and provide a teaching or coaching program that brings in steady, recurring income. Maximize every opportunity. Provide free refreshers to create loyalty and keep them engaged. Provide ahead-of-the-wave booster shots to help them learn new features or adapt to confusing changes. Offer regular new modules of content to help expand their knowledge and your profits. Use upselling right within these free refreshers, booster shots, and new modules of content to position your higher ticket coaching, such as masterclasses or smaller, more interactive group teaching. Offer masterclasses for your die-hard devotees. Limit attendance because you'll want to make these completely interactive, and raise your fees. Offer a range of low and high-ticket teaching and coaching webinars. Modules such as refreshers, booster shots, and upgrades can provide quick, low-ticket cash profits, where smaller interactive groups and master classes should command a higher ticket price. Set your prices by what your attendees are willing to pay, not by your credentials or teaching experience. Research other teaching webinars in your niche to begin getting an idea of existing ballpark prices. Remember that it only takes one successful lead generation webinar to convince attendees you are their best teacher. Do everything right, and you should enjoy teaching by webinar as much as your students enjoy your class. And that can be the biggest reward of all, even while you're enjoying your well-deserved profits. And that wraps up the video series on using webinars in your online business. Make sure you refer to the checklists to help you work your way through doing your own webinar.